Let's be real, the entry-level watch market isn't what it used to be. The entire market isn't what it used to be, as a matter of fact. There was a time when $200 could get you something great, something mechanical, maybe even something Swiss. But those days may be gone now. Prices are creeping up, and strangely, I think it all feels worse at the bottom. $500 now seems like the entry point, whereas once it could get you something really, really quite good. And for new collectors, the so-called first watch has become a minefield of overpriced fashion watches, lazy reissues, homages, and confusing specifications to say the least. So today we're cutting through the noise. These are the watches that matter. Watches that prove cheap doesn't have to mean compromised. Watches that I think you need to own at least once. Welcome to Doug's Watches, the Thinking Watch channel. 1. The Citizen Tsuyosa. So for about £300, you get an automatic watch powered by a Miyota 8210, 40mm, so a decent size, sapphire crystal, integrated bracelet-ish, it's fully the works. The Citizen Tsuyosa might be the most hyped sub-$500 watch in recent memory, and for good reason. It gives you that integrated bracelet sports watch look, but with a more classy edge than its Swiss cousin, the Tissot PRX. Think Rolex Oyster Perpetual, but at 1/20th of the price. The finishing is surprisingly good for this range. Polished case flanks, brushed bracelet links, and a sunburst dial that dances in the light. Sapphire crystal, check. Display caseback, check. Wearability, this thing is pure Garda. Go anywhere, do anything, as long as that's not deeper than 50 meters underwater. So why not a Tissot PRX? Because Tissot did not see this watch coming. That's for one reason. The Tsuyosa only comes as a mechanical automatic, and is priced at the same price point as the Quartz PRX. So if that automatic thing matters to you, this is where to shop. But for the more seasoned collectors watching, I think this watch is quite good to help your perspective on what luxury really is. Second then, the Casio G-Shock DW-5600, a $50 to $100 or £100 watch, so digital quartz, a chunky 42.8mm size, 200 meters of water resistance, shock resistance, and a backlight. This is the digital icon. No frills, all function. The DW-5600 is based on Casio's original G-Shock design from the 1980s. It's got that tough-as-nails resin case, a square layout that's instantly recognisable, and the kind of durability that made NASA approve it for space missions. Battery life? Around 10 years. Water resistance? 200 meters. Shock resistance? Well, it's quite frankly legendary. Why not a Garmin or Apple Watch? Because this doesn't need charging every day. It won't die at 5% in the woods, and when it gets scratched, you simply won't care. That is, if you're able to scratch it. Everyone should get one of these at some point. They really make you wonder why Hamilton even bother making field watches anymore. I've had mine for approaching 6 years now, and it's my second most worn watch. Next then, the Timex Marlin. Want a true taste of vintage without diving into eBay roulette like I did? Start your search here. For about $150, the Timex Marlin reissue is a hand-wound mid-century dream. Classic typography, domed crystal, and a size that feels faithful to the 50s and 60s, especially the 34mm version. There's also a larger 40mm option if you prefer something with a more modern take on this classic. Yes, it's acrylic crystal, and yes, that will scratch, but I think that's part of the charm. You'll get something that looks lived in. So, why not a vintage Omega or Hamilton instead? Yes, of course, for the same as a new Tsuyosa, you can pick up a vintage Hamilton or Omega, but just get this instead. This gives you 80% of the vibe with none of the servicing headaches and a warranty to boot. It's your grandfather's watch, updated for today. And you know what? Timex as a brand are quite interesting, and I think they're making a little bit of a comeback of late. Moving on, any Mr. Jones watch. Mr. Jones isn't about specs, it is about storytelling. These are watches that look like nothing else out there. One has a UFO mid-abduction, another uses a Venn diagram, another, my favourite, features a ginger cat. They're often printed in small runs, and every piece feels like wearable art, because that's what they are. You don't buy this to blend in, you buy it to stand out without being gaudy and without spending a massive amount of money. This is for people who hate boring watches, and I think for both new and experienced collectors, these serve as a great reminder that watches, no matter what their price point, can be fun. 5. The Seiko 5 Sports GMT. Automatic 42.5mm GMT hand, 100 meters of water resistance, a hardnex crystal, and a bidirectional GMT bezel. It's quite the piece. Seiko dropped a bombshell with the SSK GMT line, finally bringing true mechanical GMT functionality to the affordable end of the market. You're looking at a 4R34 movement, a rugged Seiko automatic with hacking, hand winding, and a dedicated 24-hour hand. It's not a flyer GMT like many Swiss models, but it is pretty close and perfectly usable for tracking a second time zone on the fly. You also get 100 meters of water resistance, a hardlex crystal with a vintage vibe, and that same similar SKX style case that many watch lovers adore, but with a few new colours and an upgraded complication. Why not a microband GMT or a Chinese clone then? Because this has real-world testing, Seiko's manufacturing scale, and heritage that goes back a few decades. It's a daily wear GMT that doesn't feel fragile or busy, from a respectable brand. So think of this as the gateway drug to watch collecting, now with a second time zone. The Casio F91W. These are cheap, very cheap, less than £20 cheap. Digital display, 34mm wide, water resistant, backlight, stopwatch, alarm. In other words, it is the works. Possibly the most culturally significant digital watch ever made. And yet out of the cheap watches on this list that I do own, the one I wear least. But quite frankly, it's still worth having a play with. The Casio F91W is ultra thin and feather light and absurdly accurate. It's so simple it almost feels like a statement, especially in a world of giant, obnoxious, ostentatious watches. And despite its price tag, this watch has been worn by presidents, punks, tech founders, and rebels. We can say it's been endorsed across every part of society. This will outlive every piece of tech you own and still tell perfect time. Come the end of the world, there will be three things left: cockroaches, Nokias, and Casios. Next then, the Swatch Sistem51. Automatic, Swiss-made, 42mm, and a Swiss-made automatic for under $200. Yes, but there's a twist. It's made entirely by machine. It has only 51 moving parts, and it's sealed, meaning no servicing. You're supposed to recycle it when it dies. With a 90-hour power reserve and a lot of playful designs, this is a bold flex from Swatch, and a great first mechanical watch for people who like a bit of colour. Why not the Moonswatch? Because this is actually automatic, not just a fashion collab hype quartz piece. The only Swiss automatic under $200, yes, it is plastic, but I'd say it's the enthusiast Swatch, and we probably need to indulge in that. As we all know, Swatch saved the Swiss watch industry. Now, if the Timex Marlin doesn't float your boat, may I present the Orient Bambino. The Bambino is the affordable dress watch, period, but you already know that. With a domed mineral crystal, minimal dial layouts, and a reliable in-house movement, this thing looks like it should cost twice as much as it does. And with multiple versions from Bauhaus to Roman numerals, there's a Bambino for everyone. Why not a Tissot or Hamilton dress watch instead? Because the Bambino nails the elegance without the markup. Nobody should buy a dress watch over $200 or pounds until they consider this. You know what? I do miss mine. A watch I had on the channel recently, a Vostok Amphibia. This is the weirdest dive watch you'll ever love. Made in Russia, the Vostok Amphibia has a unique design. It's a Soviet take on the Submariner, effectively, with the charms you would expect. It's got a screw-down crown that feels like it's going to fall off. That's normal. And the movement sounds a bit like a Soviet tractor. Again, normal. It's ugly, it's tough, it's a cultural legend. Now, there are a few watches I haven't put on this list, but I think deserve a small honourable mention, mainly because I didn't want to focus too much on individual brands. So, the Citizen Promaster Eco Drive, fully endorsed. The Casio AE1200, the only watch so good I bought it twice. The Timex Marlin chronograph, brilliant looking aesthetic piece. I could go on, so you know what, maybe things aren't so bad on this end of the market. These aren't just cheap watches, they're essential watches. Each one brings something unique, a story, a feature, a vibe that punches way above its price tag. So, if you're feeling a little lost with six-figure Pateks in your feed, remember, you don't need a huge budget to build a serious and satisfying collection. You just need taste and a little bit of guidance. What's your pick for the best budget watch ever? Do please let me know in the comments. And if I missed your favourite, let me know as well. Maybe I'll make a part 2. Thanks for watching. If you like my work, do please remember to like and subscribe, and maybe consider becoming a channel member to help me make more of these videos. Until next time.